Mitch, Sacramento is obviously struggling. Do you have Did you have a message for the guys or will you have a message for them to keep them entirely focused?
Yeah, it's a team that's full of talent and has lost some close games, and water finds its level. So they're not going to continue to lose every close game that they've been in recently, or like they have most recently. But we know them very well. DeMar DeRozan, Russell Westbrook, some very, very talented players in this league for a long time. Keegan Murray's back. Got some good young guys playing hard. So we expect to fight.
They have a handful of former Spurs over there, but DeMar in particular, could you speak to kind of what he meant to the program and sort of, I guess it was like a transitional period for this franchise?
Yeah, I mean, I'll speak from my experience. I thought DeMar came to work every day. He had this calm, quiet demeanor that was just brutally consistent. His game, his perspective, and I think it was probably a little undervalued or understated just because we wanted to win some more games than we did during that time. But his presence, when you had some of the young guys that we had at that time, you know, him and LA with Jakob Poeltl, Derek White, DeJounte Murray, Lonnie Walker, Devin Vassell. I mean, we had quite a bit of young guys during that time. And DeMar's quiet leadership played a big part in kind of, I think, a lot of those guys growing up. Keldon Johnson, huge influence on Keldon.
Marcus was here tonight. How cool is it to have Longhorn legend and somebody who's really important for the Spurs out at the games like this?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, LA, again, was, you know, when you coach guys like LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan at that time of their career, during my time of that career, those guys were very good to me. And that's also obviously byproduct and reflection of Pop and the program that he had set up, but they allowed me to coach them. And there's a lot of reasons that probably would have suggested they didn't have to. And so I always appreciated their character, their humility, and just who they are as people. And obviously they are Hall of Fame players that played a role in our team that helped us, you know, try to connect it. Didn't get necessarily where we wanted to, but as we lost some legends that we had for decades, those guys stepped up and tried to fulfill what we were trying to continue to uphold as a program. And they did in terms of the culture. And we've talked about that a lot. When we were losing a lot of games, we used to say, you know, we're not as far away as people think because of how we were operating. We knew we were far away in terms of building the basketball habits and whatnot in the team, but we did not try to, as much as we could, change how we operated as a program. And obviously, again, that starts at the top to the bottom, but those guys played a big role in that.
Hey, Mitch, can you speak to what De'Aaron Fox has meant so far this season in fitting in with Wemby and allowing the young guys to be who they are as well?
Yeah, it's been incredible to see. It's hard to really articulate when you say what you just said in terms of a 28-year-old all-star in his prime that wants to sit next to the face of the franchise, who's 22 and still figuring out as good as he is, and want to compliment him and be enthusiastic about growing with him at a 28-year-old all-star in his prime, in addition to having a 21-year-old and 19-year-old relentless guys that like to play with the basketball in their hands. Because every time they do something with the basketball that may be a learning experience or a growth period that they and we need to go through, he probably could have done something that, forget the outcome, was probably pretty solid in terms of his process of what he was trying to do. And so I just really, really appreciate his willingness to try to grow with the group, even though he's probably a little bit ahead in terms of just experiences.
Mitch, you might have some empathy for Doug Christie in terms of coaching a team doesn't have playoff aspirations for several months at a time. And you touched on this earlier, but Was there anything that stuck out last year during those days when the playoffs weren't a goal that you think is coming to fruition this year, that's paying off as you guys have made that leap?
Honestly, the playoffs since I've been here have never been a goal, and so I think that's what's allowed it to be connected and have continuity throughout seasons with different win-loss records when you look at them side to side. I think the more that we can play the brand of basketball that we're trying to instill with the identity that we've laid out, that will have dividends when we didn't know. Pop used to have a great quote a couple years ago that if we continue to play the right way in what we were trying to do, the wins will come. We didn't know if that was next week, next month, next year. And it's just been very rewarding to see some of those guys in some of those moments when it wasn't quite ready for the outcome to change, be a part of that change.
Coming back on the Kings roster, they also have a French center, like a French young and talented center, and Maxime Reynaud. What have you seen from him in the last months, and have you got the chance to talk with Vic about him, about his profile and what you can do to stop him? Because I know they know each other pretty well.
Yeah, I know they have some experience and are good friends. I followed him a little bit too because he went to Stanford, so I've seen him play. But he's having a heck of a year. And for young guys in his shoes where you're thrown into the fire a little bit and you're playing large amount of minutes, and he's played with some different combinations of lineups on his own team because of availability. I think he's done a great job of just allowing his effort to carry him through. I'm sure there's some games, if you really honed in, where he had some learning experiences as every young player is going to have in this league. And he's had some big productive games. And I think the only way that you can do that consistently when you're kind of figuring it out on the fly, especially with the inconsistent lineup like he's had, it really speaks to just his effort and his approach, because to be consistent enough with that and be dependable in terms of mental and physical, it takes a lot.
Will Lindy Waters be available tonight?
He will not. Very, very close. I would hope to say next game. I don't say that often, but I think he's that close.